Hello. For those of you who are new here, I am Reagan, also known as PB Raisinbread, and I draw things, and sometimes I post videos about them. And this time, I did this Fantasy High Junior Year illustration, and it was definitely a process. I went through like a lot of different designs and compositions. You can kind of see what I was going for with like the first few, and then it sort of got away from me a little bit. And then I might come back to this design because I think it's cool, but it just really wasn't going the way that I wanted it to, which is irritating. So I tried to go in a different direction, and that ended up working better. But so this week, so for those of you who, if you're new, I post videos of my comic book and the process of me like making each page each week. But this week, I'm actually going to a concert, and so I won't be making a page probably. But anyway, I have this video, and so I'm using it as a little buffer, and I gave myself the leeway of posting on the website eternuscomic.com, and also Webtoons is about once a month because I do a couple of pages in like one episode, because Webtoon is formatted differently, but I gave myself the leeway of every other week on my like WordPress website. But I try to post every week if I can. But yeah, so I'm using this as a little bit of a buffer. Anyway, on to Fantasy High. I love Fantasy High. If you're watching this, you're probably here for Fantasy High too. I started watching it in 2020. Like a lot of people, I think, and just fell in love with Dimension 20, and just everything about it. I love Junior Year so far. As I'm recording this, I just finished watching episode 17 of Junior Year, The Name. And you can see me having a little breakdown right here in the speed paint. It was not going well. And then I had this idea of them sort of like holding a banner that says like Fantasy High Junior Year. And I think that's also a fun idea that I want to come back to. But then I just wanted to do sort of like the free falling, similar to when they were falling through the like briefcase dimension. And spoilers for Junior Year, they go into Riz's briefcase, which is like a bag of holding, and go into like a little dimension for a minute. I won't spoil too much about what happens there. But yeah, I lost what I was saying. Yeah, episode 17. Crazy episode. Again, I don't want to spoil it too much. But so that's sort of where I'm coming from this. But this took several weeks for me to make. One, because I was working on comic pages as well, and I also have a full-time job and, you know, a life where I do other things. So this took several weeks in the grand scheme of things, but in Procreate, the sort of jotted down time ended up being around 22 hours because I did all of that sort of flandering around for the first few hours of the comic. But then, as you can see here, I sort of really try to hammer down on the like poses and everything. I had the Junior Year character art pulled up so I could get their sort of outfits correct and their like new gear and stuff. The design of their new gear, which the character art for all of the Dimension 20 seasons is incredible. But I love Junior Year specifically. I would have to say though, my favorite character art of a Dimension 20 season so far. I haven't seen all of the side quests. I will admit that. But I think the Starstruck are definitely my favorite. The artist that did that does the comic book Amethyst, I believe is the name. I haven't bought them, but I follow her on Instagram and I'm obsessed with the line art and the like sort of line quality and those like shadows, similar to like the Hades character art in the game, just sort of those like dark shadows. I love it. I love that, you know, sort of graphic inking style. That's sort of why I'm making a comic book traditionally in the first place, to sort of figure out how people do that. And they do it so effectively. Just sort of combining like the line art and the shadows and value, and making it look so good and consistent throughout. It's incredible. Art is super cool. Anyway, yeah, I love Fantasy High, and I hope that you guys who are watching this love Fantasy High too. What's your guys' favorite season of Dimension 20? Is it Fantasy High? Have you seen Junior Year yet? What sort of... Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Fantasy High Junior Year. Let's talk about Dimension 20. It's very good, and I love it. But anyway, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Yeah. When you're watching this, I'll probably be at a concert and having a fun time. But after that concert, I'll see, hopefully, your comments and talk about Dimension 20 with some people. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye! Hi, I'm back. I just wanted to explain a bit more about my process on the actual piece. For the poses, chose them for like the characters' like personality or like skills. So like Kristen, dexterity 4, absolutely tumbling around is not going to be cool in any sort of falling situation. Gorgug, right, he can take all the damage of a fall. He's not necessarily like worried, like trying to think of a way out of it. And then we have Fabian, who's doing, beautiful backflip aerobatics in the air. Riz is sort of worried about like what's gonna come after this. He's like thinking of their next move. Fig is rocking out. She's very in the moment. And Adine, not that dexterous, not nearly as clumsy as Kristen though. So she is a bit fumbling around, but I would say that she would probably, cast Featherfall, do something of that nature. So yeah, that's it for the poses. For the, like, rendering and art or whatever, the line art I use Baskerville, and the like rendering I use like the oval brush in Procreate. Pretty standard. I try to use the like same colors throughout. So for example, like the brown of the like leathers are pretty similar throughout. They're also like a similar color as the like brown of Fabian's skin versus like, you know, Kristen's staff is a similar purple to like Gorgug's pants and Adine's shirt. The like grays are pretty similar throughout. Like I think I used like 3 grays. Really depending on like what was needed. And yeah, and then I do like slight color variations of like the skin. Like I put like reddish areas in some skins, or like a sort of bluish green where like Gorgug and Frizz are concerned, or like a like darker red where Fig is concerned. For Fabian, I use a little bit of a darker like reddish brown, but also like a like purpley brown as well, just to give like that color variation to the skin. And then for the hair is usually darker at the roots and lighter at the tips, so I do sort of like that ombre thing. You can see it more in like Adine's hair than like in Gorgug's hair. Yeah, and then I do like cell shading with, I use the like purple that I use as the like multiply layer for the shading, and then use that oval brush, and then I use like a similar yellow to Kristen's tracksuit pants, and do that for like a color dodge for like the highlights. But then I also do like a bluish color for like the like shadow bounce light on like the opposite side, if that makes sense. And then I have the like noise layer and a little bit of a orangey pinky overlay layer to sort of mix those colors together well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for like the technical stuff of the piece, but I really like the way that it turned out. I hope you do too, and I hope you have a lovely day. Okay, goodbye now for real, for the second time for real. Bye.